Are virus testing, Jackie, adding a major stress threat to college athletic budgets as some student athletes are getting set to return to campus for their fall seasons, or what they hope will be their fall seasons? It's not happening, apparently, in the Ivy League, we learned earlier this hour. We're joined now by Dr. Greg Stewart, who's the team physician at Tulane for the Tulane Department of Athletics. And, Dr. Stewart, as I said, there was a report out earlier in the hour that the Ivy League's calling off fall sports, not necessarily, I don't believe, for the reason we're about to talk about. I believe it's just general safety concerns about COVID. But the testing that, if you do have a fall sports program in place, gets expensive. What are you seeing at Tulane and what are you seeing at other schools?
Thanks for having me. It's getting very expensive. And the testing that we're going to have to do is at least once a week, especially during competition, and maybe even twice a week.
How much does that cost? I mean, so some people, they said, well, what's the big deal now? We hear the tests are more readily available and all this, from government officials that, we should be able to test these kids. But relative to an athletic budget at a college like the one you work at, how much of a burden is that?
So actually it becomes a relatively significant burden because we're talking about somewhere between $60 and $120 for each test. And if you have an athletic department the size of ours, it's about 350 student athletes, plus another 150 staff members, having to go through the process and test all of them at least once a week, and some of them twice a week, can become very expensive.
Are you saying then that it's going to make more sense for other conferences? And the Ivy League, for many reasons, is unique in the college athletics landscape, but will it make more sense for other conferences, ones like yours that do give athletic scholarships and all the rest, to kind of cut their losses here? Will it make more sense to not have at least a fall season?
Well, I don't know from that standpoint. I do think that there's a lot of discussion. I don't know that it will be a financial decision with regard to the testing, as it is more going to be just from, can we control the bubble, essentially. It's a whole lot easier to do at the professional level than it is at the collegiate level, especially once the other students come back to campus.
Yeah, well, like the NBA on the professional level, they're getting everybody into Disney. And like you said, it's a bubble and nobody's supposed to leave. We don't know if it's going to work or not, but that's the plan. Other sports, maybe a little bit more challenging. But on the collegiate level, what are you guys doing, and how are you going to deal with it as the season goes on, if there is one in the fall?
I think that what we're doing right now is they're coming back for some of their voluntary workouts. We're doing testing twice a week, at least here at Tulane. Some schools are doing it once a week. But even as we're looking at all of that, we're really trying to maintain this bubble. And it becomes very difficult to do because we're dealing with 18 to 21-year-olds. And generally what we're seeing across the country with a lot of these schools that are having issues is that it's a lack of integrity of the bubble. There's a party, there's an event, there's something that goes on that's causing the issue. And that's even now when it's voluntary workouts and it's over the course of the summer. Once the students start coming back in the middle of August and the beginning of September, it's going to become even more difficult.
Well, what are the rules then? What are the specific rules for athletes? No parties? You can still go to class, I assume, if there's in-person classes. I mean, what kind of rules? As you say, some may be more realistic than others with college kids, but what rules are you actually putting in place?
So a lot of this is we're talking to our student athletes even before they come into town and come back to campus about the importance of what we're trying to do, that we really are worried about their health and safety at the end of the day. It's ultimately about the health and safety of the student athletes. And then can we get them back to practice and to competition safely? So we're talking to them, we're educating them about what's going on. It's still the same with as everyone else. They're wearing a mask. They're doing meetings by Zoom. We're doing social distancing. When they come in for treatment, they're wearing masks. Our athletic trainers are wearing masks. When they're going to do weight training, the strength and conditioning coaches are actually wearing heavier masks and even face shields in order to protect them. So we're doing a lot to really do this and making sure they understand what's at stake if they end up violating the integrity of the bubble, that they could bring this back in and really shut a program down.
So at least at Tulane, as a final question, and other schools like it, what's your level of confidence that there will be a fall sports season?
I think it really kind of depends upon where we're going. I think across the country we're seeing an uptick in the numbers all over as school starts. You know, we're just now getting some of our tests back from the 4th of July. I don't know that they're accurate from the 4th, but so far we're doing okay with that, as are a lot of the other schools. But I think that when the students come back on campus, then it really does become a game changer. I also think that with the Ivy League canceling the fall, not postponing it, but canceling the fall, I think you're still going to see some of that fall out with the Power Five and the Group of Five schools. So I think there's still a lot to come with regard to fall sports.
Yeah, that's what we were wondering. Again, as unique as the Ivy League might be, whether other conferences, Power Five or otherwise, would follow the lead here. We'll see. Dr. Stewart, thanks for your expertise. Good luck with everything. Thanks for coming on.
Thank
Jackie,
you.
back over to you.